Older people have this tendency to carry ignorance towards young generations when it comes to being enlightened by these younger generations, especially when it comes down to the things we know as adulting. Okay, they've been here, done that, seen this, seen that, so they think they have all this knowledge, and what could I have to learn from a young kid? But that's not godly conduct, especially if you're calling yourself a Christian. It's very contradictory to say you believe the Bible and say you follow Jesus, but you're ignorant towards the youth. You're ignorant towards people that are younger than you because of what? Their age? Let's go to Job. Let's go Job 32:6. So Elihu, son of Barachel, the Buzite, replied, I am young in years while you are old. Therefore I was timid and afraid to tell you what I know. I thought that age should speak and maturity should teach wisdom. But it is the spirit in a person, the breath from the Almighty, that gives anyone understanding. It is not only the old who are wise, or the elderly who understand how to judge. Therefore I say, listen to me, I too will declare what I know. That's biblical. That's biblical. That's the Bible saying that. I'm just saying, you guys ain't reading. You know what, matter of fact, I'm going to read you the rest of my highlights in this Job section, all right? Next one, Job 32:18. For I am full of words, and my spirit compels me to speak. If you're feeling convictions and you're feeling like you're really called to be doing something right now, articulate them. Articulate your convictions, but also understand that personal conviction is not a box for every single person. Okay, personal conviction is personal conviction. Not everybody struggles with the same sins. Not everybody struggles with the same vices. So something that you could never indulge in without leading to sin and leading you to stumble, somebody else could be just fine. They could, what is it called? What's the word? Like limit themselves, pace themselves. They could have a drink and stay sober-minded, or they could smoke a blunt and stay sober-minded. But somebody else takes that drink and they're going and taking 7 more shots. Okay, they're going and taking 7 more shots, and they're gonna go home with someone that night and sleep with someone and never see that person again. Okay, and then someone else could hit that blunt and they could become lazy. They could become sloth-like. That's a sin, sloth-like. But someone else could hit that blunt and go, and it makes them read this Bible. It makes them, it helps them with physical pain they've gone through. Okay, so personal conviction is personal conviction. Anyway, let's go. Job 32:21. I will be partial to no one, and I will not give anyone an undeserved title. For I do not know how to give such titles, otherwise my Maker will remove me in an instant. Back to what I was saying before. Personal conviction is personal conviction. And when you say I will not give anyone an undeserved title, when you're viewing these people doing these things that personally you could never do, but they're okay, like that doesn't cause them to stumble. You won't put a title on them. You won't be like, oh, that's not God-like. You can never be a Christian. You can never follow Jesus. There's no way. You don't give people titles, otherwise your Maker will remove you in an instant. 33:14. For God speaks time and again, but a person may not notice it. When deep sleep comes over people as they slumber on their beds, he uncovers their ears and terrifies them with warnings, in order to turn a person from his actions and suppress the pride of a person. God spares his soul from the pit, his life from crossing the river of death. A person may be disciplined on his bed with pain and constant distress in his bones, so that he detests bread, and his soul despises his favorite food. So what is that? What is that? When you go through your first heartbreak, right? When your girlfriend breaks up with you, go through your first heartbreak, you don't feel like eating. And that's all this stuff that just doesn't feel right. And all those things, you're going through all that pain, you're going through all that suffering. Hold on. Job 36:15. God rescues the afflicted by their affliction. He instructs them by their torment. You not wanting to eat, you not wanting to get up and do nothing. It's all these things that are enlightening you and trying to pull you closer to God, trying to make you understand, trying to get these things through your head, trying to get this word in your head. Okay? I'm going back. Job 26. God will restore his righteousness to him. He will look at men and say, I have sinned and perverted what was right, yet I did not get what I deserved. He redeemed my soul from going down to the pit, and I will continue to see the light. God certainly does all these things 2 or 3 times to a person in order to turn him back from the pit. Sounds like people stumble. Oh, that's crazy, because I thought you had to be perfect in everything that you do and everything to be a Christian, right? No, wrong. Gosh. Job 34:10. Therefore listen to me, you men of understanding. It is impossible for God to do wrong and for the Almighty to act unjustly. For he repays a person according to his deeds, and he gives him what his conduct deserves. I go down to 14. If he puts his mind to it and withdrew the spirit and the breath he gave, every living thing would perish together, and mankind will return to the dust. If he put his mind to it. That breath in your lungs right now, you woke up this morning and you should be so grateful. So grateful, because that breath in your lungs right now, what did I just say? Every living thing would perish together if he withdrew the spirit. 34:33. Should God repay you on your terms when you have rejected his? Verses above that said, suppose someone says to God, I have endured my punishment. I will no longer act wickedly. Teach me what I cannot see. If I have done wrong, I won't do it again. Then it says, should God repay you on your terms when you have rejected his? All right, these are the last ones I got for you. I'm just going to read the verses. I'm not going to say nothing about them. 36:24. Remember that you should praise his work, which people have sung about. 37:5. God thunders wondrously with his voice. He does great things that we cannot comprehend. 37:24. He does not look favorably on any who are wise in the heart. And that goes into chapter 38, which is the Lord speaking. Okay, so Elihu was acting as a mediator between Job's friends and Job. When Job was saying, I have acted so righteous, I have done no wrong, blah, 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 saying God was wrong. Elihu was saying God does no wrong. And he was mediating between his friends and Job, who were all significantly older than him. And I think that's awesome. I think that's amazing, actually. If you could just open your eyes and your heart to those verses, Ignorance is never a virtue, and especially not towards our youth. I got this disguise as an older person, but I'm really only 20 years old, so there's that. But yeah, y'all, complacency is the enemy of your progress, and you can't let it win this battle today. Please don't let it win this battle. You're always complacent.